Swan has become the Swansea City motto, and the supporters here at Betchfield have every reason to have pride in a team which has never been out of the top six in its first season in the First Division. The lineup this afternoon shows the absence of Colin Irwin, who has a knee injury, but the welcome return of their latest Welsh international at number 2, Chris Marustic. And it's not going to be easy for the supporters to choose their player of the year, but for sure the Yugoslav skipper, Ante Rakovic, will have many votes, as will a former winner, Alan Curtis, whose goal against Southampton on Tuesday keeps alive Swansea City's hopes of taking the title in their first season at the top. Manchester City handed the Swans their heaviest defeat when the teams met at Main Road, and indeed they led the championship race into the turn of the year. But things have gone wrong since then. They have more problems with injuries, which gives a chance at number 7 to Andy May. And Joe Corrigan has gone down with a touch of tonsillitis, so Alex Williams gets only his 4th senior appearance in goal for Manchester City. Referee is Ken Baker of rugby. The recent fortunes of these two teams really couldn't be more contrasting. Swansea 2 odd goal defeats in their last 14 games. Manchester City just 1 win in 10 games and 9 goals conceded in the last 2. It's short for Ray Kennedy. Clayton troubled a bit by the sun, and here's Latchford. The shot was from Curtis and was wide. Well, sun was always a problem then to Tommy Caton. And Latchford initially got away, and Curtis with a shot that was well struck, but was wide. Rustic gets away with a fairly strong challenge from behind. Kinsey comes inside, Reeves takes his place. It's a corner. Francis has gone to the far post. Kevin Bond has come up to the near. And here is Bond, and he gets the flick. Cleared away by Rakovic. Good cover by the skipper. But really Bond was left in rather more space than Swansea had any right to allow him. Marustic. Hartford's header. Stanley. Oh, cleanly hit, and a beauty. An absolute beauty. Well, it was a good 25 yards. And it was a lovely strike of the ball. And going away from the despairing Alex Williams's right hand. Gary Stanley's 3rd goal of the season, and one he'll remember. And the referee wants to add to the statistics, presumably for something said. His conversation is with Tommy Caton. But he's got his book in his hand. Presumably that means the name has gone in it, but I didn't actually see him right. There's McDonald's. So that's the 10th goal that Manchester City have conceded in their last 3 games. And And to be quite frank, it's a goal that has been on the cards since the start of the match. Curtis, Latchford inside, the cross is too strong, well it looked it and it came back off the crossbar. Latchford. I suspect that the cross, even though it caused problems, was overhit, but certainly Alex Williams was saved by his crossbar. Avdic got away with a push. Latchford, James. I don't believe that. The booking against Nicky Reed, and I think he might justifiably claim that he went for the ball. He certainly caught Leighton James afterwards, but he won the ball first, in my opinion. Mr. Baker's opinion is rather more important, and a booking it is. James was caught on the knee. It certainly hurt him, but it's a question of intent. And he's moving now. That's Avdic. On that occasion, he wasn't prepared to try the shot, and yet he was better placed. Hartford looking for the quick break, so was Francis. Two players coming left. Francis is going to have a crack. And so did Kinsey. But he looks very sharp, this Trevor Francis, and hungry for the ball. And he was always going to go alone then, and he was hoping to find a goalkeeper masked by defenders. But in fact, the ball was blocked by the defenders. Won by Caton. Curtis. Very, very teasing one again. Curling so much that it was only a whisker away from hitting the post and coming out, which would have been an embarrassment to Williams. Good header by Latchford. Kevin Bond hasn't really got into the game, but then that's true of the entire midfield. No chance for Hartford. That's better for Kinsey. Reeves inside. Number 8, Marustic, got there first. Curtis, ever available. Kennedy. Swansea must feel that the balance of play is deserving of a second goal in their favour. Nicely taken down by Marustic. Stanley, is he going to have another crack? Robbie James. And I think National will claim it. I don't think that Curtis needed the final touch. Indeed, the suggestion was, as they all go to congratulate Latchford, that they all feel it was Latchford's goal. And the second goal has arrived with 9 minutes of the first half remaining. Nice play on the right. Robbie James involved from Gary Stanley. And Latchford's shot was in, I think, as Curtis came in on the far post. Francis. McDonald. Francis. And Rakovic leading the charge. To Curtis. Rakovic wants it back. And here is Leighton James. Goal kick. Seem to have so much space. And they've been breaking with not inconsiderable speed. Latchford. Curtis. And some applause for Jimmy Hill as the corner arrives. Stevenson's come forward. James already there. Rakovic is also forward. There's James. Reed's header. Zjavdic. Marusnik. Flying, waiting in the middle. It was only just wide. And that indeed is the last action of the first half. Swansea City players go off to a resounding reception. Gary Stanley with the first goal, although I gather that Manchester City will complain about a handball in the build-up. And the second goal scored by Bob Latchford, although Curtis was on the post just to make sure that it went home. Half-time score, Swansea City 2, Manchester City 0. And the crowd in very good voice, and understandably so. So Swansea halfway to fully avenging their defeat at Main Road when they lost by 4 goals to 0. Beginning the second half with half the job done. Useful cross too. Ranson just wouldn't come down quickly enough for him. A sad end for Manchester City. That move had some promise at the beginning. Latchford. Teasing Caton. And the home crowd very quick to applaud. Well, by Ranson. Really rather dived in. Zjavdic, who took the brunt of it. He got a knock as well in it. Stanley. James. Ransom will be booked because it's the second challenge in a matter of seconds, neither of which seemed well considered. So it means that 2 of Manchester City's 3 under-21 players and their back 4 have been booked. James. Zjavdic. Curtis. Oh, he's done so well. So did Caton. Francis. Beautifully timed challenge. Alan Curtis having a thoroughly memorable afternoon. Stick, Robbie James, Curtis. He's a big lad, the goalkeeper Alex Williams. Makes the ball look very little at times. Craig Kennedy's had a pretty quiet afternoon. 1-2 with the referee. James. Stanley. James. Oh, he could have a crack from there. Came off Caden. That's the sort of range that he likes. He scored a fine goal from a not dissimilar position for Wales against Spain recently, from just that sort of distance. Up comes Stanley, well taken by Reeves. And here's a chance for Curtis. What a good claim. Did very well then, Alex Williams. Big hand came down on it and he was quickly forward to meet his foe. The ball must have come very close to being handball outside the area though, but the linesman was absolutely level. So there was no question that a foul had been committed. Stake by Stanley, but he recovers. Caden. Great ball by Marustic. Did well to turn it up and over. Manchester City to bring on Age Harida, their Norwegian international. And he's going to replace the teenager, Andy May. And we've had 18 minutes of the second half. Kinsey. Stanley. Francis. Chase for the substitute right at the start. The crowd still believe that the Welsh side are going to win the league. Latchford and Nicky Reid. Latchford, fine save! Got down very well. Latchford given the opportunity. Williams excelling. John Bond looking a little resigned. I think it's only a question now whether Curtis is going to get the goal that he's worked for so hard. Whether Davis is going to complete another clean sheet. Kinsey, McDonald, Reeves, Curtis and Reed. Maristic. That's a fine ball for Leighton James. 2 men over. And Ray Kennedy too casual. 2 men over then, Swansea City. The ball should have been buried. Stanley. Reeves. Hartford. Francis on the run is offside. This certainly worked hard, Trevor Francis. The fluency in the second half, partly because of a tightening up by Manchester City, but even so, a thoroughly convincing victory by Swansea City. The goals in the first half through Gary Stanley and Bob Latchford. But perhaps the most significant thing to say is that the victory was gained in a very relaxed style by a side which still believes it has an important shout in the League Championship.
Their rise from the 4th division to the fringe of the 1st, and it's to consistent players like him that clubs look for stability at this tense end of the season. The Blackburn number 6, Derek Fazakerley, is a similar example. He's been at Ewart Park nearly 14 years, has been involved in 2 promotion squads, and he's part of a defence which has been the tightest in the 2nd division this season. But the shortage of goals scored, which cost Rovers promotion a year ago, is still their main concern. Only 1 in the last 5 games, so Norman Bell and Noel Brotherston are dropped today, John Lowy coming in at number 9 and David Hamilton at number 11. Watford recalls Steve Terry at number 5 after suspension, and Jerry Armstrong continues at number 9 because Ross Jenkins has a rib injury. Referee Gwyn Owen of Anglesey, who will be 48 years old tomorrow, and that means he has to retire from the Football League list at the end of the season. Blackburn Rovers in the famous blue and white halved shirts, playing from right to left in the first half. A header there by Steve Terry, and here's Nigel Callaghan. That was Fazakerley who came in over the top on Luther Blissett. And Terry already making his way forward from centre half for this free kick by Pat Rice. It's aimed at Jerry Armstrong, who's up there. Here's Callaghan, away from Rathbone. Did he bring him down? Referee said no, and he was well placed. No protest at all there from the Watford players, and Gwyn Owen ideally positioned. Here comes Jerry Armstrong. Ball in the air quite a lot early on. Howie holding Terry off. Here's Spate. And wide on the right is Miller, who hasn't seen much of the ball up to now. Blocked by Barnes. Here's Rostron. On to Blissett. Nice turn. Armstrong and Callaghan to his right. The flag is up for a foul. The referee played a good advantage. Here's Barnes. And Butcher didn't hold that for Fazakerley away. Off Blissett and away finally by Spate. And Barnes again, who created that. What good use of the advantage by the referee there. He could have acknowledged the flag by blowing for a free kick. He didn't. He spoke to Keeley later. But it was a very good move by Watford, and the referee let it flow. And John Barnes' effort was not held by the goalkeeper. Fazakerley was on hand. Simon Garner. Miller is the player wide. In the middle, Kevin Stonehouse. And here he is. Was he fouled by Pat Rice? The referee says that he was. And Blackburn Rovers, thanks to the linesman confirming the referee's thought there with the flag, he looked to the line and got confirmation. It was Rice on Stonehouse, and look at the linesman there, he's saying a very definite use of the arm, and a penalty is given to Blackburn. Now, earlier this season down at Watford, Kevin Stonehouse scored from a penalty right at the end of the match, so I wonder whether Steve Sherwood has remembered how he takes them. 10 minutes gone, penalty to Blackburn. Sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. So for Stonehouse, the second highest scorer in the Blackburn team, that's number 11 for the season, which means he surpasses last year's total. And he sent the goalkeeper completely the wrong way to put Rovers in front. This is a match Blackburn have got to win from their point of view. If they drop points here today to Watford, they're as good as out of the promotion race. So that's the sort of start they were looking for, and Pat Rice, who was involved in the incident, is now determined to get Watford moving at the other end. Steve Terry has a very long throw. Luther Blissett near post. Callahan here. Corner. My feeling is that Wilf Rostron, although playing left back, will come across to the right wing to take corners, to curl the ball in with his left foot. Barnes is on the near post, Callahan on the far, Bolton is forward, and so is Terry. And Terry and Armstrong coming in at the back, away by Spate. And Jan Lohman appeared to be blocked. That's Jim Brannigan. Flick on by Simon Garner. And Blackburn playing with some panache early on here. Lifted by the goal. Miller, Hamilton, Brannigan. That's one for Lowy to flick on. Garner is hovering. Swung forward by Armstrong. Well hooked back by Fazakerley. 20 minutes gone. Blackburn lead 1-0. Armstrong. That's swerving! Oh. Well, if he can produce that in the World Cup, he'll prove he's entitled to be in that sort of company. That was some effort by Jerry Armstrong. There was swerve and dip on the ball, and I would imagine that Butcher was relieved to see it go over. This typical Watford ball, hooked forward as soon as possible and quite often as far as possible. Armstrong leaving it for John Barnes to go through. Corner. Shot was deflected. Well, Watford do loft the ball forward early, and it paid off again there. It was in the penalty area in a flash, and so too was John Barnes. Flags up on the far side. The ball was out before Nigel Callahan could hook it back in. Rostron, who half-blocked the cross, and Lohman was on hand to help. Keeley, offside. Miller, inside to Hamilton. Maybe Stonehouse the target there. Rice got it away. Here's Garner, and there's Stonehouse! And he's sharp on that near post. It was a foul by Keeley on Blissett. Armstrong and Terry waiting to come in far side. Barnes takes. Blissett's in there! Got a good save. Curled in by Barnes. They were watching Armstrong, but Blissett got it in front of him, and the goalkeeper tipped it over. And it's going to come to Ian Bolton to head it back in, and Armstrong jumping, and here's Lohman, and here's Miller, who loves to break away on that right-hand side. He's got runners in the centre here. Good running, in fact, by Hamilton in the centre-forward position, and two others are coming up as well on this near side, all of which was a pity for Blackburn, because the ball was on. In fact, the foul on Hamilton by Lohman means that they retain possession with a free kick. So Glenn Keeley will come up on our near side. Spate to take. And Keeley almost... Oh, Garner had a chance! And finally Stonehouse came in at the far post. And Watford could well have gone 2 goals down there. There were 2 good chances for Blackburn to put that away. Rice looks for the free kick, doesn't get it. Rathbone. Put in there by Bolton. This is Garner. What a good turn by Simon Garner. The shot's on. Good save. Miller came hurtling in, and the goalkeeper, who might have made it his when it first came back off him, didn't do so. And applause rings round the ground, first of all for the turn by Simon Garner. He left Bolton there, saw the shot was on, Sherwood down to his left, and then in not gathering it quickly enough, saw Miller come hurtling in. Fazakerley. Lohman, missed out there and found only Hamilton, who's looking for Miller. Rostron hurrying back. Rostron feeling he was knocked over, rather, by Ian Miller. And the referee, anyway, brings to an end a first half which has fairly bristled with activity, as second division promotion matches tend to do at this time of the season. Chances, that's true, at both ends, but the only goal was a penalty to Blackburn Rovers after only 10 minutes play, and the scorer was Kevin Stonehouse. For Watford in place of Steve Terry. Sims, who's been somewhat unlucky to be out of the side for so long, he played on Easter Monday, and I understand it's a tactical substitution by Graham Taylor, and we'll see if Sims can offer something to Watford, because he's a very good footballer as well as being a strong centre-half. Here's Les Taylor. Callaghan. Blissett. Watford, who've only lost 1 of their last 6 matches and have had 8 away wins this season in the second division, a figure bettered only by Sheffield Wednesday. Here's Miller. Glenn Keeley across. Lohman. Miller. Garner. He's trying to tuck it down the line for Lowy, but there was a flag up on the far side. Blissett, Lohman, Armstrong, and Barnes. And Callaghan is coming in, and he scored. The two wingers combining to produce the Watford equaliser. The ball played in by John Barnes after a good move, and Nigel Callaghan came in from the far post, got his head to the ball first, and that's 1-1. The Watford bench, no doubt glad to see their side come back so quickly in the second half, just 7 minutes of the half gone. But here's Miller, and they weren't concentrating then, Watford. And he's pulled it back for Garner, and Art seems vulnerable, and they've just scored. Miller goes again. Bit of a tangle there at the near post as Lowy tries to get the ball back to Miller and succeeds. And here comes Hamilton, and it was away by Sims. Here's Spate against Callaghan. Well, Watford's plan of playing the teenage wingers has worked pretty successfully this season, and certainly they combined effectively there. Sims was caught appealing for offside. Lowy. Support coming in there from Stonehouse, out to Rathbone. Spate is just in this telling position to get the ball in. And it was Rostron who cleared. Armstrong's header on, Glenn Keeley having to hurry as Blissett closes. And that's a composed piece of play by the Blackburn centre-half. That wasn't so composed, though, and they're crashing in a little bit there. Fazakerley was, anyway. Losing the place a little bit there, the Blackburn number 6, trying to retrieve something which he'd lost. And Watford certainly suggesting that they've got every chance of scoring the winning goal. In by Rice. Keeley having to battle with Armstrong. That was Sims. Armstrong's there again, and here's offside. Well, he missed anyway. It was young Lohman. And hang on, it looked like an offside, but in fact the referee has given Watford a penalty. He spotted some shoving before the offside was even flagged, and Watford have a penalty out of nothing. So, a shot for Blackburn there with 12 minutes to go. Luther Blissett to take the kick, the second penalty of the match, and Blissett scores his 16th goal of the season, and Watford take the lead for the first time in the match. Here's Miller. Well, the Watford supporters away to our right, well pleased now. Their side having come from behind to take the lead. And they'll be well pleased down there now. Bobby Saxton, the Blackburn manager, furthest away from the camera there on the bench. His side's promotion hopes surely disappearing now. Beaten at home here last Monday, losing at home again today. Rathbone in, and Sherwood comes with the punch. Hooked back in, and a chance perhaps here for Miller! Lowy! Well, it hasn't quite been Blackburn's day, and it's reflected there. The ball coming out conveniently for Ian Miller to strike, but it crashed against the bar. Lowy was well wide from the rebound, and I wonder whether Blackburn's chances of going into the First Division have disappeared in this second half today. Certainly no luck for them there. And there's Barnes, he's onside. What a chance here for John Barnes to make it three. And he jabbed the ball across the face of the goal, but it wouldn't have mattered really, because Watford have won. Barnes would have liked to have sealed it there with virtually the last kick of the match. But Watford have taken 3 points, earned by a strong second half performance here, and that may prove in retrospect to be a most significant result. Nigel Callaghan with the equaliser, Blissett with the winner from the penalty, the fans being acknowledged by the players, because Watford would appear to be well on the way to the First Division now, and by winning here today they may have condemned Blackburn to another season in the second. Blackburn Rovers 1, Watford 2.
We go back to May 1984 for tomorrow's Classic Sport. For 2 games, Liverpool play against Notts County and Newcastle United take on Brighton. Kevin Keegan makes his last appearance for Newcastle, so don't miss that tomorrow at 10:30.
Classic Sport with Blaupunkt.
Kick-off.